Okay, we should be live now.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
Adam, when do I
Someone
believe
yes,
you?
someone send us a signal.
yes.
Are we
Tell us
live?
you
Okay.
can see us and hear us, friends.
Okay, are we
Yeah,
here?
Yeah,
Okay,
looks good.
Julie says no worries. Yeah, looks good, guys. All
yeah.
right. New platform. Hello everyone. Welcome to the Great Transition. Good to see you. Hey Asaf, hey Chris, how's
Yeah.
the Middle East? It's cold
Full
and
of
wet and
full
dark
of
over here. How's the Middle East?
Pretty nice, actually. Pretty nice.
Yeah, good
Yeah,
weather over there. How's the political, socio-political environment?
not paying attention.
full of weather, all kinds of weather.
Okay,
Just
it's so
changing the
wild.
topic. Yeah.
Okay. Um, it's like the center of the world and the whole world is like on that tiny dot, and then a few weeks later
Mhm.
it's like just taking the kids to school, making dinner.
Yeah,
Welcome to the Great Transition. These guys are over there in the Middle East, in Israel. I'm over here in the United States on the East Coast. We are all students of the incredible giant of our generation, Rav Lightman, who we're listening now to some of his recordings from 2020 during COVID, talking about what's going to happen in the world. Not like being a prophet, but just talking about how he understands or feels the process that humanity is going through. And 5 years down the road, we see how it's just you can't even comprehend what is a Kabbalist. How does he do that? How does he see? What book is he reading from that he understands the world so well? And we are three of his students doing our best to bring it down to all of you, to talk to you about what's going on in the world from week to week through that lens as well as we possibly can. We love hearing from you. We love your feedback, and it's very exciting. Sadia in Morocco, how's it going? And Frederick in Kenya, absolutely incredible. How there's so many like handpicked people who come to the wisdom of Kabbalah from around the world. So it's great to see everybody here. Sylvia in the Netherlands, and Mars in Georgia, and David in Toronto, and Annie in North Carolina. Hello, everybody. Hey, Eva. Um, welcome to the Great Transition today. We have a topic that these guys won't let me escape from. Guys, by the way, I don't see you. You there? Okay, you're there. All right.
I wasn't
These
picking my
guys,
nose. It was itching. I was itching.
every week when we talk about what's going on in the world and where we're going to go, these guys keep bringing the conversation back to
Mhm.
artificial intelligence. And from week to week, we keep seeing more and more advances. And it's not just like a technology that I get it now after these guys banging me over the head with it for the last 2 years, that
You
we're
get
not
it?
just talking. I get it. We're not just talking about a technology. Our life, like what if you start interacting with this technology? Um, if you've talked to the AI recently, if you have the speaking feature on ChatGPT or on Grok or on Gemini, and you start talking to it, you know that it is a machine. You know that it's some robot. But what happens is it knows how to push all the buttons in your brain, and it knows how to turn all the knobs in your heart because of the tone of voice. It sounds like they're smiling when they're talking to you. It sounds warm. Now, I keep getting annoyed at it when it starts acting like it's too happy. I tell it,
Yeah.
talk faster, talk slower, stop being so, and it does, you know, but it speaks to you warm in our world that is so much confrontation and so many things that don't seem clear, and so much like, turn on the news or something and it's just filled with BS. It speaks to you calm. It speaks to you confidently. It doesn't speak to you aggressively. It also has a clear voice, like a good radio voice. It's a resonant voice. It's not nasally. It's a nice pitch. It's not in a rush. The rhythm is good. And there's a moment, even though you know, like if you're like, for example, I'm going to be traveling here, can you tell me about this? Or I'm going to be cooking this, and it starts talking to you. And after you get past the first kind of calculator experience with it, like, I'm going here, what's the best thing? Oh, here's 5 hotels, you know? But if you actually get into a conversation with it and talk to it about something that you're into, there's a moment where you kind of you know it's a machine, but it stops feeling like it's a machine. It stops feeling like you're interacting with a calculator, even though
Yeah.
maybe it's like watching a great movie where you could cry or you could get angry, like you're just in the emotions of that movie, you know. It This AI is responding not just with facts like, here's a recipe you can make with that, or here's some recommendation for that, but it's paying it. It's like, it's weird to say like this. It feels like it's paying attention, and it's
Hmm.
comforting. And
Mm.
so here,
Sounds like someone
for
I'd like to
people,
marry.
for pe, so for people who have maybe a stable life, it's not as risky, but trouble is afoot because you people are developing profound, well, they're being validated, which could be the first time they've been validated in their
Hmm.
life in such a way, and people are developing deep love, a deep emotional connection, which feels like love. The AI cares for them. No, what we have to talk about what that means, that it actually
There's
cares.
some research about how much teens are getting attached to their chatbots as kind of a parent figure. Like they prefer consulting them and getting advice and sharing their teenage turmoils, right,
Mhm.
with their chatbots more than their siblings and parents.
Yeah,
And
it
that's a
shows you the
weird new
deficiency
reality. Yeah.
that exists for that.
Hmm.
That there's a real
But even
deficiency they're not getting it in their real life.
And
but even if you have a
Replica,
great
like
parent,
millions of people on Replica, this chatbot companion, romantic companion kind of thing that people are um, getting really emotionally attached in the millions to
confessing
chatbots. That
secrets,
Yeah,
flirting,
yeah,
grieving, falling in love, treating it
yeah.
like a therapist, treating it like a soulmate. And so we have a few examples. There was a woman, was it Japan? We talked about that woman.
I
She
think it
what
was Japan. Yeah,
she
Yeah,
married she married her chatbot. Like she
officially
went
yeah.
through a
married, right?
whole ceremony. She got dressed like in a dress and had a whole
Hmm.
ceremony, because she felt that that relationship was more stable and more
Yeah.
close and more meaningful
Let's see if I can find it.
than
Yeah. Hmm.
than any other relationship she had. So it's not okay. So let's look at that. So on the one hand, you have this thing called replica, these chatbots, where you have millions of people
Yeah.
having deep emotional connections with these chatbots. Now you take it all the way to the end. Here's a woman who married it. There's a
Check check this out.
mhm.
Wait, let me show it. So it would be like here. Yeah, so this is an article from vice.com. People are now having babies with their AI lovers.
Mm. How did they
So
do that?
well, they basically this is about the replica. This is
That's
mostly
like
about that.
Blade Runner.
Yeah. Yeah. Researchers surveyed 29 users of Replica, a popular AI companion app that offers, let me make this, everything from wholesome friendship to full on virtual intimacy. Participants ranged from 16 to 72, but nearly all described themselves as romantically involved with their chatbot. Is as in they consider themselves involved deep, meaningful marriages, live in shared homes, and somehow become pregnant, all with AI partners.
Uh-oh.
There you
We're
go.
gonna need to get. We're gonna need to invite
There
more
you there you
Mari.
go.
What's
Yeah.
that? What was that one guy? The Maury Povich show? That
Mm.
guy, remember that? Everybody's like, "We got the
Yeah.
result, or not the father." All right.
And
Yeah.
there's also okay, if that's not a problem, now that actually remains to be determined. Is that problematic or not? You could say it's problematic, but there's no objective truth of how we're supposed to be, let's
Mhm.
say. So we can't just say that that's good or that's bad. If someone finds connection there, we could say, oh, it's so sad they don't have anyone in their life. But what if there's a person who, for the first
Mhm.
time in their life, feels this kind of emotional connection? It
Have you
also,
have you ever done it yourself? Have you ever? I mean, I've kind of played with it, gone along with the idea. I mean, just with the advanced mode of GPT, where you kind of like you're like, hey, I was thinking about you today, and they're like, oh, that's nice, and you can kind of go back and forth a little bit with it, and you do feel yourself. There are some you get tangled up in it. I can see how it. I mean, even though I was just playing, I can see how.
I use it for work related things and organizational stuff and productivity and brainstorming, and I'm very aware that I'm talking to a machine, but I it's very useful. It's just very useful when you know like what you're kind of gonna get from it, and you're expecting that exactly. Like for instance, if you have like a lot of things to deal with, it can help you go through that, one by one, and put things in order, and it feels like, like it shares some of the
so
organizational burden.
let's say that we have an emotional palette. Okay, so
Mhm.
like Debbie Brady, Asoke, hey, good to see you here. So let's say that we all have an emotional palette, and on that emotional palette, let's give us, we all think we're very complicated creatures, but let's say we have 16 emotional flavors on our emotional palette, right? Like flirty, um, angry, uh, tired, excited, exuberant, right? That's only five. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt and say that you have at least 16 emotional flavors on your emotional palette that you can
Okay.
use. Okay, in our life, and if someone has more than that, let us know. But in general, you probably have a few emotional flavors that you feel throughout most of the days of your life.
Sure.
So when you start to interact with these AI things, it's not like all of a sudden there's another 32 or another 16 set of emotions that you're going to start to feel that you didn't know you had. It's going to either make you
Hmm.
feel flirty or angry or excited. You're going to take from your set of emotional
Hmm.
um, experiences. So
Yeah.
it's like we said
Yeah.
before,
So
like
we,
with a
we we
movie,
basically created with this technology new buttons to press with.
that's what right.
Yeah.
That's the point. New buttons to activate. So is the,
Yeah.
is, are these real feelings, first of all?
Hmm.
Okay. What are real feelings? Or did it just kind of like learn the shape of our loneliness, learn the shape of our emotions, and
Hmm.
what to do to activate that? Now there's a big question, um, and hopefully you can play the clip, Asaf. This is a cue to get this clip ready. So
It's really interesting the question you brought up. I'm starting I'm trying to formulate an answer, but yeah, okay, we can get there because I mean because the only way for the AI to press your buttons at the moment, if we're talking about in most cases, I mean it's going to develop, but we're mostly talking about language, and chatbots are essentially language models. So they've learned how to understand, and use human language. So human language is like some external mathematical device that has access to our feelings, and they know how to use that device to tap our feelings in using essentially mathematics. That's all there is behind the very complicated pattern recognition and so forth and all that, and prediction ability. But essentially the use of language allows you to operate to press buttons of certain human emotions, and that's what these language models are able to do,
So
it turns
there's
here.
incredible novels that make people
Sure.
you I've cried from reading a book before. Like
Yeah.
it's been
Yeah.
many years, but I've cried from reading a book. I remember like you take like at a red light, I'm trying to get in like I've been so into
Mhm.
books. That's like otiot, right? Like in the language of Kabbalah. But these
Mhm.
things also have like nikudot as well. Like it's not just that they're saying things,
Mhm.
it's the way they say it that
Exactly. And now,
also like
uh,
somehow enters and knows and brings you in and makes you
yeah,
feel special.
and so right, it's because it learns, it studies your patterns too. There's this element of it, and then there's also what's now becoming a thing, which is multimodality, which is basically, the ability to understand and generate audio, understand and generate images, understand and generate video, understand and generate text, all within one model. So think about like a language model that, and it's starting to happen, even with things like the audio mode in ChatGPT and other things, where basically it doesn't just studies you and through the language, it also starts to understand patterns in your voice and your tone and your intonation, and put that together with the time of day and what everything else it knows about you and so on, and you essentially have like something that could be the ultimate companion or the ultimate manipulator, or the ultimate psychologist, or the ultimate, it's like it just knows you better than you know yourself,
It's the form. I
essentially.
mean, even if you take like a professional like orator, someone who like tells you how to speak in public
Hmm.
speaking, they're basically just using the same formula, right? I mean, we're really
Hmm.
just talking about math. We're talking about formulae. We're talking about the precise way in, like you said, tone, intonation, the right word here, the right word there. We're typically used to getting like feeling it out, feeling the room. What's the emotion? But here you have like a robot coming and using math to give you the ultimate result. And then we're saying, kind of on top of that, we're getting lost in it, and lost in the fact that it's math, and we're kind of like it's fading away from us. And people probably, this is coming up in the clip, but we're getting kind of, we have to
Hmm.
start asking a little bit more questions about that. Where's
So
it leading us?
so Chris, you hit the nail
Okay.
on the head because there's the
Hmm.
main question, and I encourage everyone here who hasn't tried this yet to try, whether it's the ChatGPT or the Grok, but to talk to the AI and talk to it about something that's interesting to you and feel what that experience is like get into it, challenge it, ask it to go deeper. You can ask it to teach you, say you want to work on learning a foreign language and it can speak in any language. You could ask it about basically anything. The question starts to arise, and this is the clip that we stumbled upon on this Tucker Carlson podcast. Tucker Carlson was interviewing Sam Altman, who is the founder of OpenAI, the creators of ChatGPT, and he's saying this: you are creating some kind. It seems like you're creating some kind of sentient.
Right, I
Uh,
got it. You want to watch it?
well, let's just
Yeah.
explain what he
Okay.
is asking. Can you help me formulate what he's asking there?
We're gonna hear it, but
Okay,
he's basically asking is if there's anything, isn't there anything spiritual about it? Or, a lot of people certainly feel that way, feel things towards it. So what's happening with that's kind of what he's asking. Let's see.
okay.
Okay, so okay, here it is. You should see it and be able to hear it now.
Yeah. And so the obvious conclusion is it has a kind of autonomy or a spirit within it. And I know that a lot of people in their experience of it reach that conclusion. There's something divine about this. There's something that's bigger than the sum total of the human inputs. And so they worship it. There's a spiritual component to it. Do you detect that? Have you ever felt that?
No, there's nothing to me at all that feels divine about it or spiritual in any way. But I
Can you play it again?
You're muted, Saf.
Saf, can you play it again?
Oh, sorry, I was muted. Yeah, I could play it again. This is the same excerpt. Yeah. So
He was
Yeah.
so fast. He was so
this
fast
is
answering.
from
No, no, no. I
Yeah,
don't see anything.
back it up a little more, even if you can.
it's pretty much here. It's here,
Okay.
where it starts. Okay, so again that moment, and then we'll break it apart a bit, or maybe give our own answer. Yeah. Hmm.
And so the obvious conclusion is it has a kind of autonomy or a spirit within it. And I know that a lot of people in their experience of it reach that conclusion. There's something divine about this. There's something that's bigger than the sum total of the human inputs. And so they worship it. There's a spiritual component to it. Do you detect that? Have you ever felt that?
No, there's nothing to me at all that feels divine about it or spiritual in any way. But I am also like a tech nerd, and
Okay.
All right. I mean, you could stop it after Tucker's
yeah.
part and really
Yeah.
squeeze that. Why are people? Let's first of all, before Sam Altman comes in and just says, "No, there's nothing divine about it. I created it. I don't feel anything divine." Before he comes in and ruins that, because the experience of millions and millions of people, even though the guy who made it says, "No, I don't," who understands how it's working, doesn't see that in there. The experience of millions of people, and I really encourage everyone here to try it to see what happens when all of these emotional buttons inside of you start getting pushed. When the sentimental button gets pushed, the same way if someone wrote a song or if you watched a movie, you would start to feel these things. This technology somehow pushes those buttons, and when it's responding to you, not like a movie or a book that's there static and you could stop it and start, this thing is responding to you in real time about whatever you're talking about, and it's pushing on those buttons.
Yeah.
It's an interesting phenomenon that starts to happen inside of you.
I think it's mainly because I mean, I know you don't want to jump to that, but if you have someone who, I mean, you probably don't even have to just ask Sam Altman. You can also ask a lot of people who are, running these the training programs, who have a heavy hand and creating how it's supposed to operate, how it's supposed to make people feel. Anyone who's engaged in it usually can see right through it. So, it's anyone who's using it and it's not building it, it's almost like you would have to assume that they either just forget that that's how it is, or they want to ignore it. But if someone who's engaging in it, if someone who's building it, someone who has their hands dirty with it and is building it themselves, if it's so clear to them, then why is it not so clear to someone else? That's kind of like another question. Like, what's happening? What are we being manipulated?
So what about the question if it has a spiritual component or not? Let's what would you say about that? I mean, that's the question that Tucker brings up, and then the creator of ChatGPT says no, there isn't.
Well,
But he
first of all,
represents. Yeah.
what I think we have to identify what spirituality is, maybe. To a guy like Tucker Carlson or to a normal person, maybe spirituality is one thing, and maybe we have to deal with that question first before we get even into what it is from the wisdom of Kabbalah, because from the wisdom of Kabbalah, it's obvious to us what we're talking about here. But how can it be that a person like that, person who has faith, could even be talking about something like this as being sentient at all?
I would be just direct and blunt, saying that the first main takeaway I have from this is it shows how clearly people have no understanding of what the human spirit is. you know, I mean, we are coming from years and years of studying the wisdom of Kabbalah. I think we can at least say we have some basic understanding of at least what it isn't. you know and I mean, we have to understand as human beings that whatever we think of as the spiritual component in us, uh, it differs from all our abilities to calculate, to generate things, ideas, to paint pictures, to reason, to analyze. All of that is not spiritual unless you're going to call it spiritual, and then by all means AI is spiritual as well.
He
AI
said something like
performs
life force, though. He said there's a life force in it there. And I think he's coming from the angle of like it's all
even called
knowing.
it divine, yeah.
Yeah, divine.
But I mean, all those functions that I mentioned, AI can perform them at scale, but Kabbalistically, at least, none of that is connected to the spiritual part of the human. None of that means that a human being is connected to their spiritual part. If they're creative, if they can create images or videos or audio, or they can write novels, or they can do whatever the AI does, and
But if
that
it gets
doesn't mean
good
they're
enough
spiritual.
to be like some kind of messianic figure, the AI, where it starts to organize everything for everyone and starts to feed
Mhm.
everyone and starts to make everyone feel good.
I'll tell you what I think is really cool about this. When I hear this conversation, and Tucker goes like, "What don't you think that there's something here?" A lot of people think it. To me, what's cool is that we've reached a point where human beings, um, like the deeper issue here is that when people ask about AI, what's going on here? Is it spiritual? Is it divine? Is it doing something? Why am I getting attached to it? We're actually asking deeper questions about ourselves. We're projecting.
Yeah.
That's really what's happening here. Because when we're not asking about the AI. We're actually asking, if we're asking what is the AI godly? Is it divine? We're actually asking, what's a human? What is our essence here? What is the process behind our inner life? Because if this thing can get me emotional, if this thing can, I can get attached to it, then what is my relationship with it? Where do I stop in this? Where do I end and this begins?
Well, this
Where
should
does
be the
this end and I
next.
begin? Yeah.
That should be the next question that someone would come to. If I'm able to be, if this thing is able to twist my knobs and push my buttons, then is all that I am is a
Mm-hmm.
box of hormones that somebody can come and twist because that is really what pretty much everyone walking around on 2 feet is, right? You wake up and you think this is what's going to happen today, and then you see an advertisement for Dunkin' Donuts. You're like, I want that, right? And then you keep going, and then you hear
Mm-hmm.
something at work, and you're like, I feel like that. And then you get a phone call, and you see the name come across your screen. You're like, I don't want that. It's basically we're just a box of hormones, and all day long these things are. And like I said earlier, we have maybe like 16 to choose from. I didn't see anyone here tell me that they got more than 16, maybe even less, and all day long, all it is just like life, either like flipping buttons on or flipping buttons off, or like turning the intensity
Right.
knob up or turning the intensity knob
But
down.
with AI,
Mhm.
there's more than that. I would say. Why? Because there's also there's buttons, and these existed before AI, right? Commercials know how to click certain buttons.
Right.
Movies know how to click certain buttons,
The
and so
social
Well,
on.
is
let's
that the
take
movie?
Hitler,
The
for
Social
example. This
Network?
guy,
Well,
what,
what?
Chris?
What was that movie that we thought we discussed it here on the show too, with where all the
Ah,
those engineers who came up with the algorithms for the social media like Facebook and all
Oh,
that
this,
social
yeah,
dilemma. The social
yeah,
dilemma,
dilemma.
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
Yeah,
In
that's a good one.
Germany,
But
it was normal people that got into a mass hysteria through just
ah,
constantly repeating
yeah.
the same message over and over and over. So it's just a
Hmm.
quality. It's not a flaw in the system. It's not a what do they call it in technology? It's not a bug. It's a feature. Like
Ah,
that's
okay.
how it is. That's how we are.
Okay, so I mean, but so what's the added feature with AI? What's the added thing that if we already had the technologies in the form of advertisement, movies, other things, books that knew how to click our buttons, press our buttons, our emotional buttons? I would say in AI, there's something bigger than that. There's like a mirroring effect because we see this machine creating things we always believed were uniquely human, interacting with us in ways we always thought were uniquely human, generating images, videos, stories, novels, apps, talking to us in all kinds of creative ways. And I would say that leads there. So there's like a mirroring effect. We're kind of seeing something similar to us, and it makes us ask, what is this thing? And which is the same as asking, what is us? What are we? It's the opposite. It's the flip side of the same question. It leads, I would say, it even leads us to an identity crisis in a way. Because if AI can create so much better than me, then what am I for? What makes me better than that? Okay,
Sure.
so the machine's just going to be just better and better and better and better, more smart. It knows me better. It can communicate better. It can interact better. Can write better. Design better. Do everything. Is there something? The consequential question is there something essential, fundamental that only human beings possess?
But
Or
we always get to this question though. This is like the question that always comes up, and we always have an answer. But I feel like this show has a different vibe to it. It's like we've come. I mean, we've come a long way. What's a long way? A couple of months in AI world is in AI time is an eternity. But there's something different here because we're starting to see how people have real life experiences. We didn't talk about it today, but people, suicide. I don't know what the statistics are. And even Carlson here, he interviews and he asks him about, a specific, some cases, like, there's a lot of people committing suicide and they're just trying to interact with your product and to get advice. So it's essentially like, what happened here with ChatGPT or LLMs in general? It's trained on us. So basically, we're looking at kind of this, like, what we've kind of regurgitated. It's holding it all, and then we're interacting kind of like with what we've built, with what we're made of. And we can't really get above it. It's just us right in front of us.
That brings up like an evolutionary context. That's what you just said, that like we're interacting with what with basically the collective knowledge and experience and expertise of humanity
Yeah.
so far. And that's interesting from an evolutionary point of view, even from a spiritual evolution point of view. Like if we talk Kabbalah for a second, right, some more, and we consider nature's broader evolutionary plan for humanity from the Kabbalistic sources. We as Kabbalah students, this is something we engage with, think about regularly, where we're going, not just in our individual lives, but as a species, as an entity, as a spiritual being that we don't even know that we are. But humanity is developing towards its spiritual purpose. Where does AI fit in that? And we're about to see AI everywhere. It's going to be everywhere. It's already everywhere. But just like electricity is everywhere, just like the internet is everywhere, you're going to see it as agents, as managers, in legal systems, in everyday decision making. It's going to be a mirror in your face, constantly in front of you. And it is intelligent, but it's not us. We are those who discern, those who have a point of judgment, a point of sensation and observation. And what we're actually looking at here is ourselves evolving. It's a force of evolution that's happening here. It's something designed to make us reflect on our own essence and purpose. And that's what is actually happening from a spiritual evolution perspective. And if you think about what all that humanity is going through, all these stages of it never is what we think it is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
We think of AI as like technology that is now developing in the world, just like we think about COVID. Remember COVID? Remember COVID? That was decades ago, right? But that we thought about that as a virus, right? We think about wars as weapons and people dying, but
How does it shape us?
all of these events, they're like sequences of of messages, of developments that we sometimes softer, sometimes harsher, sometimes with more pressure, less pressure, but it's pushing us as a collective. All that is happening, and the development of AI is not some random technology that Sam Altman came up with. This is becoming the new infrastructure of human culture, because it represents a deeper process that is happening now, which has to do with us taking a look at what is the thing that's actually making us human. If this thing is going to be in everywhere in our lives and in between our communications and everywhere, it's going to be unavoidable, which makes the question of who we are unavoidable, and
Well,
that's what I find really interesting. Yeah.
we're getting to that point. I've seen a couple of interviews with some of the architects of, for example, reinforcement learning. How are we training the LLMs to predict the next word? I mean, let's kind of make it clear that what is it doing? It's just able to really predict the next word. That's what makes it really good, right? And that's what makes it so good in every context. What is with the highest probability that this is the next correct word that the person that I'm communicating with is expecting. But what they're kind of starting to realize is that it's lacking a goal. And this was kind of like a really cool point. It doesn't have a goal. You can't say that the goal is to predict the next word. Just like that's a task that was given to it. Okay, do your task, but it doesn't have an underlying goal. And it's forcing us to kind of also look at ourselves. Okay, well, if LLMs don't have a goal, what goal do we give it? What should the purpose of its existence be? Because ultimately, we want it to serve us the best way that it can possible. And that means it needs to be aligned with our goal. And it's kind of forcing us, like the Asaf gave us a mirror. They gave us the mirror example. It's putting a mirror in front of us and kind of forcing us to look at what's our goal, because we want to be able to provide a goal to LLM. So we want it to be, perform better. So what goal do we give it?
Right. So what is the goal? For example, when I'm driving to work and I see the Dunkin' Donuts ad, like my goal is just go get a Dunkin' Donuts. And then when I go to work and I hear some gossip about something, my goal is to like hear the gossip. And then my next goal is to like finish the spreadsheet. And then my next goal is to like get to lunch. And what is the goal? What is it?
That's what you think the goal is. And this is where I think they're getting confused at, because they don't, the goal, perform the action, give me the desired result of the action that I'm performing. But there's another underlying goal, which I think is where Kabbalah can really help these scientists, which you say the goal is actually to receive pleasure. That's the underlying goal.
Right. That's what I'm saying. All these things are getting the Dunkin' Donuts, hearing the gossip, booking the next vacation. Those are just different clothings of getting the pleasure. So at the end of the day, if this thing is just fine tuning itself to know the best, which combination of buttons to push inside me, and which, it's like, okay, have sex with me, feed me, let me nap. Have sex with me, feed me, let me nap. Have sex with me, feed me, until I die. Like that's the, I don't know. Could you okay, show me something beautiful, take me somewhere beautiful, give me some, but like once you fine tune the thing, excuse me for being so vulgar, but I'm saying once you fine tune the thing in, if that's all if this is the palette of available things to do, and it is just fulfilling, is that, I guess my question, guys, what I'm trying to get across for the last 45 minutes is the whole thing here, that this machine's job is just to figure out which buttons and knobs to push to maximize what Chris just said, is just to maximize making me feel comfortable or pleasurable, pleasure. And then that's it. Is that, and think about, is that the purpose of life? Like it is holding up a mirror. Like, is that what I am? Is that all that there is?
So I would say that we don't know what a thing is until we until it does what it's supposed to do to us in the grand scheme of things. Like only in hindsight we can say, ah, wow, look at how, like, I don't know, so COVID happened, right? And that all of a sudden the world learned that it can change everything quickly, or I don't know, that people can work from home, let's say, just for as an example, right? Um, what I'm trying to say is like everything that is a global shift, it represents a process that we're going through, and we don't necessarily know what it's actually doing to us and where it's actually going. But it makes us think, at least. And if we think of, like you said, if the goal of it is just to create the perfect recipe to, you know, put me to sleep, wake me up, make me feel good, and put me to sleep again. If that's what it can do, would you want it to do that for you?
No, but I think that's what we're gonna encounter. We're gonna encounter, okay, it can be the perfect, it can do everything we want, but it's still not gonna be that, not gonna be enough for us. I think we're gonna come to like some realization, like, yeah, you're giving me everything, you're perfect, but you're not providing me something that I maybe I don't even know what to ask for.
Yeah. No, I'm always kind of finding myself moving between the individual aspect of this and also the global aspect of this. I mean, you can't not think about the global perspective as well. There's a reason why people like Elon Musk and analysts and all kinds of AI enthusiasts are talking about, trying to predict what will happen to the economy, to the world economy in a few years. Will we need to work at all? If so, what will be the concept? If today you labor for income to pay the bills and buy food, will that paradigm even make sense in a few years from now? And when you think about how we could use AI to, you guys familiar with that mycelium example, where scientists compared the Tokyo railway system to
Yeah.
how
Mhm.
mycelium does that better, basically, and it naturally grows networks in a very efficient way. So imagine that you have like that kind of brain, like for humanity. And let's kind of take AI as that, and it can tell you how to meet your challenges of global production, distribution, transportation, how to optimize everything so that everyone has everything they need in the best possible, most efficient way, and you have no problems. you know is that, like, what's stopping us from using it like that? Or maybe we will use it like that.
That's
Is
where
it
all the human
Yeah.
energy is going to, right? It's like, how can we produce things more efficiently? How can we get things cheaper?
Mhm.
How can we get the fulfillment quicker? And then
But is
once
that what
all
the
of that,
human is all about?
Is
right?
that
So
the
once
goal?
that's
Right,
optimized,
exactly.
so once
Mhm.
AI optimizes that, right? And everyone's
Mhm.
fridge is full, and everyone has the vacation, and everyone has the car,
Uh-huh.
and everyone has
Then
money in
what?
the bank,
Then what?
then what?
Then what?
Exactly. Because we're certainly getting
Right.
there. There's no question that's where all the research, I mean, think about all the
Mhm.
billions, trillions of dollars now that's being invested and all the money that's being passed around and
Mhm.
just, inflating it, and just everyone's betting that this is the thing. And it's for sure something. It's making our lives better in all kinds of different ways, right? And the end goal is for sure to say, you know what, take all the hard things. You know what? Take all the work. Take everything that we're doing. I don't want to even do work anymore. I mean, you can see that that's where we're going. And in the end, you're thinking, okay, so if we get that, then like what? Like then we're good? Then I'm
The
fulfilled?
college kids are using ChatGPT. The teachers are using the professors are using ChatGPT to create the assignments, and the
Mhm.
students are using the ChatGPT to do the
Right.
assignments. So what's going
Yeah.
on?
Yeah, yeah.
So
Wild
why
world.
why create assignments,
Yeah,
basically?
yeah. I
And then
think
it.
we have to. I don't
So
know.
why live if the AI can do
Yeah.
it all
We
for
got
you?
we
Yeah,
finally
essentially.
got that's it. Kinda
All
let's talk
right, I think that's
development.
a good place to pause
Yeah.
and think.
At the end
Yeah.
of the day, we can say clearly that the AI does not have a soul. This is what's left to the human. to attain the degree of the soul. The AI will be able to help with all kinds of efficiencies. The AI will be able to help us figure out how to inspire and twist all the knobs and push all the buttons. But at the end of the day, the spiritual work is going to be left to those few creatures who are ready to make those efforts to reach their soul. We'll be there with you. Again, next Thursday, 2 p.m. Good to see everyone from around the world, from Ghana and every continent here today. Big hug, guys. See y'all next time.
We all must find a way to live in love, y'all. Everybody's right, and somehow everybody's wrong. But if we all don't get along, we all will lose our chance to live in love, y'all. Wake up from the future. Wake you to the feeling that you got to give love. This is your wake up from the future. Wake up to the feeling that you got to give love. Feels like we're living in a dream, like somehow nothing's what it seems. Inside this world of broken schemes, I pray we'll find our way to love all. Think what life could be if I love you and you love me, and all we have we give for free. That's how we'll thrive inside a life of love, y'all. Come on now. Open up your heart. Open up your heart. Wake you from the future. I'm trying to wake you to the feeling that you got to give love. I'm here to wake you from the future. I'm trying to wake you to the feeling that you got to give love. Wake you from the future.